newborn human is frankly a disaster. It can't walk, it can't cling, it can't even hold up its own head, it can't tell you what's wrong, it can only scream. Compared to almost any other animal on Earth, your baby is born helpless. And it stays that way for years. Now take that fragile, screaming, utterly dependent little creature. Drop it into a world with no hospitals, no formula, no medicine, no guarantees at all. And yet, here you are, which means, against staggering odds, your ancestors kept those impossible babies alive, generation after generation. So how on earth did they do it? And here's the first surprise. The answer was never one heroic mother alone. It was a whole group. But first, we have to clear away an ugly myth. You may have heard a grim explanation. Because so many babies died back then, the story goes, ancient parents simply didn't bond with them. They stayed distant. They had lots of children. They treated each one as replaceable. It's a cold story, and it's almost certainly wrong. High infant mortality did not mean low investment. Everything we can see suggests your ancestors poured themselves into each child and grieved terribly when they lost one. They weren't careless with their babies, they were fighting for them. So why are human babies so hopeless to begin with? Part of the answer is a trade-off written into your own body. Humans have enormous brains, and mothers have a pelvis narrow enough to walk upright. Something had to give. So human infants are born extraordinarily early. In developmental terms, they are helpless in a way most other mammals never are. Exactly why is still debated among scientists, but the consequence is not. A baby this underdeveloped needs care so intense that no single person could easily provide it all. The first pillar of survival was simple, and it came from the mother's own body. Milk. Not a few scheduled feeds a day. Near constant nursing. When the researchers Melvin Konner and Carol Worthman studied Kung mothers, they saw something startling. Babies nursed many times an hour, in tiny, frequent bursts, day and night. And breast milk isn't just food. It carries the mother's antibodies straight into the baby, a living, portable immune system handed over in every feed. In a world with no vaccines, this was the closest thing a newborn had to medicine. And that constant nursing did something else, something clever. All that feeding, combined with a physically active life, tended to delay the next pregnancy. It spaced births naturally, often 3 or 4 years apart. So this wasn't a strategy of having as many babies as possible and hoping some survived. It was closer to the opposite. Fewer children, each one given years of focused care before the next arrived. Quality, not quantity. But a mother nursing for years while gathering food and staying alive herself cannot do it alone. And here's the real secret: she was never expected to. The anthropologist Sarah Blaffer Hrdy argues that humans are a cooperative breeding species. We raise our young as a group. Around that mother stood a whole team: grandmothers, aunts, older siblings, other women, sometimes fathers, all of them helping to carry, feed, watch, and soothe the baby. It takes a village isn't a sweet saying. For your ancestors, it was the literal mechanism of survival, and one member of that village mattered more than almost anyone: the grandmother. Kristen Hawkes and others have argued that older women, no longer having babies of their own, became a powerful survival force, gathering food and caring for grandchildren, quietly tipping the odds of life. There was also the simple physical act of holding on. Ancestral babies were rarely put down. They were carried against the body, skin to skin, almost all the time, in arms, in slings, on hips. That constant contact did real work. It kept the baby warm, steadied its heartbeat, and calmed its crying. And it let a caregiver keep working, hands free. That baby carrier you see on parents today, the one that's suddenly back in fashion, it's one of the oldest survival tools your species ever used. So now flip the whole thing around, and you'll see the real twist. We picture the lone mother, exhausted, doing it all herself, as the natural human state. But biologically, that might be the strangest arrangement of all. Your ancestors evolved to raise children in a dense web of many hands. The isolated modern parent alone in a house with a baby, no village in sight, isn't the ancient default. It's a historical accident. When new parents today feel overwhelmed and unbearably alone, part of what they feel is the absence of a support system their own biology still expects. None of this made survival easy. The odds were harsh. Across many hunter-gatherer societies, a large share of children, often something like a third or more, did not reach their first few years. But the killers were rarely neglect. They were the dangerous passages of early life. The vulnerable weeks after weaning, infections a modern clinic would shrug off. And against those threats, your ancestors' best medicine was knowledge, hard-won, shared across the whole group and passed down. They knew what to feed a sick child, how to keep them warm, and when to worry. A baby's survival rested on the wisdom of everyone who had kept a baby alive before. You can still feel the machinery of all this inside you. The jolt that goes through you at the sound of a baby crying. The near magnetic pull to reach out and hold an infant. And yes, the bone-deep exhaustion of caring for one without enough help. Those aren't random feelings, they're the echoes of a system built for many hands, running in a world that too often gives a parent only two. So picture that helpless newborn one more time. The one that couldn't lift its own head? You were that baby once. And you survived not because of one person, but because of a whole web of people who kept a fragile little ancestor alive, link by link, all the way down to you. You didn't just inherit life, you inherited a species built to care for one another, to hold the weakest among us until they're strong. And if raising a child ever feels impossibly lonely, maybe it's because you were never meant to do it alone. No one ever was.